Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's ClaritySoft training webinar. Today is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. I'm Susan Arnold, Implementation Specialist here at ClaritySoft, and our topic for today is exploring custom fields, all the different custom fields that we have available in the ClaritySoft database. Should be a fun one. Hopefully, you'll get some good ideas, ways to think about some things, maybe add some new things to your database if you have an existing one, get some ideas on how you can make improvements. So our goal, our agenda today is to explore the different custom field types that we have in ClaritySoft, and there are quite a few. Build an example of each one, put them in the UI template, and then show you how the field works in the database. And then while talking about all of those, give you some design tips for creating data flow from module to module. We now have the capability to get data to flow all the way through the whole database. And that's my next slide here, is to show you that diagram. Basically, if you are using the leads module, that has always had the ability to take information, custom field information that you've put into the leads module. I've used market segment and product interest here as some sample fields. That data, when you convert the lead, will flow into the account record if the same fields are there. It will flow into the contact record if the same fields are there, and it will flow into the opportunity record. So you don't have to put it in all three locations. You put it where it makes sense. For example, in leads, you might gather some information that would be pertinent only to the contact. So then you would put that data field in the contact record. And you might have things that are only pertinent to accounts or opportunities. So you get to decide how you're going to flow the data. If you don't use the leads module, the good news is now that data will flow from accounts to contacts, and then from contacts to opportunities when you create new records, okay? So before the break in the chain was between accounts and contacts, and we have since added this functionality, so you don't have to use leads to get the data to flow. You can now use accounts. So you will put the same data fields in accounts. When you create a new contact, then it will flow into that new contact record. And when you create a new opportunity, it would flow from there, okay? Data from opportunities to quotes and sales has always flowed if the information is, if you have the same custom fields, and from quotes to sales. Now, the one module that I forgot to put in here, I realized this about 20 minutes ago, I don't have the projects module in here, but the data will flow when you convert an opportunity to a project, a quote to a project, or a sale to a project. So it will flow into the projects module. So I wanted you to understand that, especially because now we have this connection finally made, okay? And when you're designing your database, you may want to think about these things. What are we gathering if we're using the leads module? What do we want to know? And then where do we want it to go throughout the rest of the database? Okay. All right. So let's switch to our ClaritySoft. Okay. So I have a little sample database here. It's very simple. It has 4 records in it. And most of the fields that we're going to create today, we're going to create in the accounts module. Obviously, you can create them anywhere you want in your database. And it just made it a little bit easier. We'll create some in leads, and we're also going to create some in opportunities. So I guess hold on to your hats, and here we go. What I want to do, I'm going to open this here first. Basically, this is just ClaritySoft out of the box, okay? The only field that's still here is this corporate one. I forgot to delete that one. But everything else is just basically ClaritySoft out of the box. And it's pretty plain, name and address and phone number for a company. And what you want to do is now make it your own, make it fit your business. Then you can create it to fit your business, which is what makes Clarity Site really nice, because every business is different. Everyone wants to track different pieces of information. So my little business that I have here as a sample then is to sell supplies like dishware, glassware, plateware, and table linens to restaurants, hospital or health facilities, healthcare facilities, and education type market. Okay. So that's my premise for all of this when we're setting it up. Okay. So my first thing is to sit down and decide what I need and then start to build. Now, also know that you need to be an admin user in your database in order to do this. So if you're not, listen and go back and talk to your admin user about what you want to do. I have a question here. Yes, Mike is asking if you have a custom field drop-down list in leads, you must have the same name custom field, same data type, and same drop-down list, or the values will not flow. Okay. All right. 2 settings. I go to customization on the left. Let me collapse this back up. And then I go to the module where I want to start. Okay. As I said, I'm going to go to accounts. I thought I deleted all of these. My goodness, what happened here? Okie dokie, folks. I swear I deleted all of these things before, so I'm going to get rid of them. Gremlins in my computer. Cannot delete. Okay. Delete. Oh, that's saying, okay, I understand that one. All right, well, we're just going to kind of go from here. I'm not going to waste time. So custom fields, I go over here and add. And when you add a new field, first of all, you need to give it a name, okay? Then you select the data type. Now, if you have the professional level of Clarity Soft, you will not see all of the same data types that you see here, okay? You have the basic level of custom fields. If you have the accelerator level, then you will see all of these. And if you're at the enterprise level, you see everything that we have available, which would include these calculated fields, okay? So if your list doesn't look the same, that would probably be why. So the first thing is to come up with a name. One of the things I want to do here and is to create a text field or a field that's going to hold some sort of an ID number. This could be like the company's EIN number or anything like that, some other code number. When a field, the data that's going to be in a field is going to be unique to that particular record, then using a text field is probably a good idea. If you have choices that you can make, that you can give to your sales folks, then I highly recommend using a drop-down type field or a drop-down multi-select. Because if people are left to their own devices to type stuff, they'll type just about anything in the field. And then when you go to search for stuff, you get very inaccurate searches. So in this case, I'm putting in like an ID number. So I can type ID and I can type a £, okay? You can't use slashes. You can't use parentheses and things like that, but you can use the £, and you can use hyphens in your names. it'll yell at you if you type something. When you go to save it, it'll tell you you're using an illegal character. So a text field is super simple. You type the name, it's text, you click save, okay? So then I want to add a drop-down type field where I want to do my market segment, okay? Now you can see I already have this field in here, but just ignore that because I'm going to create another one. I swear I emptied all these out this morning and I don't know why they came back. So I'm going to add another one and I'm just going to spell this a little different. I'm just going to call it MKT segment. And these, I do want a certain set of choices. I don't want my people just typing willy-nilly what they think the market segment is. So I choose drop down. Notice that I get the drop down values box. And to save you from suffering through my typing, I'm copying and pasting this from somewhere else. So as I said before, my little business is to sell to restaurants, education, and healthcare facilities. So those are my 3 market segments that I have. Now, here's another little hint. Sometimes when you're typing these drop-down lists, you accidentally might hit the enter key a couple of extra times and it sort of disappears at the bottom of the list and you don't know it's there. But when you come down here to click save, it says, you have a duplicate drop-down value. That's not allowed. And then you look at your list and, well, there's no duplicate there. Well, there is because you have multiple presses of the enter key. So look at the bottom of your list for that and then click save. This happens quite often with folks. So you just want to, now you know what to do, okay? Then I also want to create one for my product interest, okay? What products are folks interested in? So I'm going to add and I might have to put product interest 2 here. And I'm going to make this one a drop-down multi-select because they might be interested in more than one product. So I do this, and then I have my products over here that I can copy. Okay. And basically you type, press enter, type, press enter. The drop-down list here has a capability of up to 4,000 characters in it. So that would be quite a long list. Probably don't want to go that high. Okay. Save it. All right. So I have those in there. Then the other piece of information that I would like to find out is how many people are served per day at these institutions. So that would be a number field. So I'm going to add, and again, I can use the pound sign, and I'm just going to type number served daily. Okay. Now here's another little hint. Some people would type number of people served daily and have this giant long name, but the data that's going to go into that field is probably very small, okay? So you want to try to match the length of the text in your field name with what's going to go underneath it. It's not so much in the record that this matters, but when you're putting your data fields in your columns, you don't want a column that's going to have, you know, less than 4 or 5 characters in it with 20 characters in the name. So just think about that as you do it. So This one I could probably do just number served, but I'll leave it the way it is so you can see. And then this is going to be a number field, which then when I choose number, I can choose what format I want. So I want without decimal digits. Okay. So I can set that. Mike, you're giving me a bunch of questions. I'm going to hold off on those until a little bit later so I can keep moving here. Okay, so I've got the number served. And let's go with those for now. Now, the other thing I'm thinking about here, the market segment and the product interest are two fields that I would like to gather in my leads module. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to market segment, select my list, copy it. I'm going to go to the leads module, custom fields. Now here where it's very important to spell this the same way and have the same data type and the same drop-down list. That's why if you copy and paste, you'll have it, okay? So I'm going to put it in leads. I'm also going to put this in my opportunities. And if I wanted this to go throughout the entire database, I would just go to each module over here on the left, add the same field, paste the list, paste the list, paste the list. I could go all the way through to projects, okay? I'm just going to do it the way I have right now. So now the other one that I want to grab is the product interest. So again, open it, copy, go to leads. Now this one is a drop-down multi-select. Okay. And I will also throw this into my opportunities record as well. Okay. So I've added the fields where I want them to be for now. Let me go back to my accounts. Once you've added all your custom fields, then the next thing you must do is tell ClaritySoft where you want these fields to display on your screen. If you were to log out and log back in right now and open your account record, none of the fields would show up. And then you'd say, well, what the heck? Where did they go? Well, you didn't tell them where to go. So that's why they don't show up. So I'm going to go over here underneath customization, click on UI templates, which stands for user interface templates. And then on the right, I'm going to go to my account UI template. And it takes a second or two because it's bringing up a list of all of your access profiles. Now, here's another thing you need to know. In ClaritySoft, you can have different access profiles for different users, meaning that different users could see different data fields in their records when they log in, okay? So when you click here, you're going to have all your access profiles, and you can see I have an all one, and I also have an all-FCA. So I have a custom one here. These are built in, okay? So all is built in. That means a person can see all records in the database, no matter who owns a record. This is custom in some way, but the people can see all records. Individual means that the person can see only their own records when they log into the database. Manager, you assign to a manager who then works with people that report to him or her. Team, don't use, it's for the offline version. We don't use it anymore. And then terminated, you would change a person to terminated access profile and deactivate them when they leave the company, okay? So I'm gonna go to, and the base template is kind of a master template that you can use to set up your fields and then copy them to these. I tend to just go to the all profile because that's what most people use out of the box right away. And then you can copy to your other profiles. So over here on the left now, I see all of my fields. And on the right, I see the layout that we looked at before we started creating the custom fields. So here's my numbers served daily. I'm just going to bring these over and drop them. And I have my ID number. Might go there, and you can just push these wherever you want them to go. Okay, so where's my market segment? Bring that over. And my product interest. So you can push these anywhere you want. All these fields are movable. So you just put them where they seem, where it seems logical to be, okay? And you have all these different fields over here. Now, ones that you might want to pull over that are built in, if you're using the sales module, you might want to pull this last order date over. This will show you the date of the last sales order with this particular account. Last touch date is useful from the standpoint of when you complete an activity with this account, it will show you the date that you last touched them or completed an activity with them. So you just go down through lead sources. Not sure why I got rid of that. That's standard. This one is the lead conversion date, which will actually be equivalent or equal to the creation date. So you don't necessarily need that here, but you can look at these and decide, you know, what you need. These type A1, type A2 fields, when you first log into ClaritySoft as a brand new user, these will be over here. You do not need these because they are part of the offline version. They're segment fields that are used in offline. We don't really use them anymore. And if you're not going to use the offline version, then you don't need to use these. So just drag them to the left and drop them. Okay. So I've got the ones that I want to see, and I can come up here and click save. Now, if I want to copy these to one of the other access profiles, then I would click on copy to and say, well, I also want to copy this to this one and this one. Then I save it, okay? So if I switch to this one, it looks the same. If I switch to, whoops, I didn't hit that one. Okay, where'd my computer go? Hello, there it is. And if I switch to individual, it should look the same as well, okay? So that's what the copy to is for, so you don't have to do this 3 times. All right, now, once I've done those, the next step, you must log out and log back in. Whenever you're working in settings, after you've done work in there, you must log out and log back in to see the changes. So if I open up this record, I now see my ID number field where I can type any combination of text and letters, okay? My market segment is my drop down. They're a healthcare facility. And the product interest is a multi-select. So they might be interested in all 3 of these products. And maybe they serve 3,000 people daily. So it's a number field. So that's how you put your information in. And then you can fill in the records. I can do a save and close. All right. Now, the other thing, once you have custom fields in here, these columns can be set up with column settings where I can say, how many people do they serve per day? Whoops, that's the wrong one. Okay, and I can do the market segment. Okay, and I can do the product interest. And then I can set this down here, we'll say 20. You can set it to 50 or 100. Click apply. Now I can see my custom fields in my columns. And as I fill in the data, this becomes very useful to me and for visual purposes. And then I can search all of this data. Okay. All right. Now, stepping forward a little bit, what we'd like to do is add a few more fields here. So I'm going to go back to settings and customization and accounts. Okay. And one of the things I'd like to add in here, if I sign a contract with somebody, let's say I might be mixing what I do here a little bit, but I'm just trying to give examples. I would want a date field for when a contract is signed. And then I might want to have an expiration date too. So again, you can put those in, whatever you need, you put them in. And so I'm going to do, I'll just say, I'm going to add a new one here. So this is going to be, I'll say contract start, and then make it a date time field. Okay. Now, the other one type of field that we have here is we have a one called a checkbox that could indicate whether we have the contract on file. So you can see I already have one here that says that. So I'll just create a new one. Called it contract file just to make it different. And then I set it to a checkbox. Now, if you don't have the checkbox type, which you may not, then you could make it a drop down and make it yes, no. Okay. So you can choose whether you want a checkbox type or not. And again, you can create multiple checkbox fields. Some people need to gather different documents and they want to check off, yes, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. So you aren't stuck with one of those. You can put as many in as you need in your record. Okay, so we've added those. And then what I'd like to do is with my market segment, underneath my market segment, I would like to differentiate a little bit. For restaurants, I want to know, is it a privately owned restaurant or is it a franchise type restaurant? For a healthcare facility, is it a hospital? Is it an assisted living facility? Is it a nursing home? So what I want to create is a field called a drop-down dependent, okay? And so I'm going to go up here and add that. And I'm going to call this, I'm just going to call it market sub. And then I'm going to make it a drop-down dependent. Now notice how this changes. It suddenly says, oh, well, there's a parent field. Yes, market segment. What I want is my other market segment that I created. So what it's doing, it's looking for any fields that are a single select drop-down type field. So you pick the one that fits. Then it gives you the choices that are in that parent field. Then I click on restaurant and I would come down here and I would type franchise private and any other choices that would go with restaurant. Then I click on education and I can choose public, private, university. Again, whatever else works, okay? Then I click on healthcare facility and I would put in my choices for a healthcare facility, okay? So once I have each set of choices that go with the parent value, I have completed my dependent field. Okay. Now, another dependent type field we have is a text dependent field. And what I'm going to do with this one is create a new field. I'm going to call it service options. And it must be a drop down, a single select drop down. Okay. And I'm going to have option A, option B, option C. So this one will become my parent field. Then I'm going to add my text dependent field. So this is options. I'll just call it descript, okay, for description. And then this is going to be a text dependent. And you see you have, whoops, a single line and a multi-line. I would recommend doing a multi-line because a single line text dependent, if you have a length of text that scrolls on one line, you got to scroll all the way over, and that's not very easy to read. So I would almost always pick this multi-line one. Works the same way as before. It's looking for a parent field. I choose service options. There are my options. Option A, I will copy. Okay. Option B. And option C. And notice with this multi-line text field that you can type, you can type more text. I can keep typing here and put a whole big paragraph in. So you can have more than a single line of text. And you can also add additional rows to the height of that text field. Okay. So I'm going to save this. All right. Now, another type of field that we have, one of the questions that comes up very often with people is at the account level, they might want to connect an account to a parent organization of some sort, like a corporate owner or a parent owner. So what we usually recommend is creating what we call a lookup type field. And that lookup type field will allow you to connect to accounts. Then when you click on it, you're able to search all your accounts and pull up the organization that is the parent organization, okay? So that means your parent organizations need to be in the database, okay? So I'm going to add that field, and I'm just going to call it parent. Again, you can call it the corporate, parent, whatever name works for you. Whoops, can't spell. And then this is going to be a lookup type field. Now notice we have two. We have a lookups and we have a multi-value lookup. This one will allow you to look up and link to one account. This one will allow you to look up and link to multiple records, okay? So it kind of depends on what you need here. I'm going to do the single value lookup, and then you get a choice. Do you want to look up accounts, contacts, or users? The way this can be used, perhaps with your sales team, sometimes you have more than one person who works with an account or an opportunity or something, and you want to track that, then you could create a lookup field attached to users and be able to add an additional user. If you need to add more than one additional user, then use the multi-value lookup, okay? And then that way you can have the owner field is the main person who owns the record, but the other people are connected to it as well because they might work with it. I'm going to select accounts and then click save. And then I'm going to use, let's see, what can we do for our multi-value lookup? We might as well do one so you see the difference. And notice this one, not only can you do accounts, contacts, and users, but you can connect to any other type of record in the database. So this gives you some capability to link things from module to module. So I'm going to do users here, okay? I'm thinking I may only have one user in here, but that's okay. All right. So now I've added those fields. So let's go put those into our UI template and explore what those now look like. Okay, I'm going to choose my all profile. And now I need, here's additional sales rep, which, where is my owner field? I don't even have my owner field in here. There it is. Okay. And then we have the contract date. I'm going to stick that here. And, oh, wrong one. I want contract start and contract filed. Those are my two fields I just created. Then I want the market sub. So since this goes with the market segment, I'm going to put it right underneath it. Okay. And then the options, options to script, that comes over here, but options list, service options, here it is. Okay, those two go together. All right. So I think that was all I created, right? All righty, so we'll save that. And then again, I could copy it to my other profiles, but I'm going to log out. Now you'll see how these dependent fields work. They're pretty nice because you can get them. So here I have market segment is the healthcare facility is selected. And then the sub shows me hospital, assisted living, or nursing home. Okay, so hospital. If I change this to education, then I get public, private, university. So again, what you're doing here is you're locking in what your users can select and not allowing them to type in stuff. It makes it faster, easier for them, and it makes your data much more accurate. So here's the product interest we already had. Over here, we have a contract start date, and it's going to be right around, it's going to be the current date here. And you can pick it, you can back up, you can go forward, whatever works. Now, if you started, I'll say it's starting today, but let's say this contract, you're putting in older data, you can back this out and take it to 2019. Okay, so it'll jump, and rather than scroll a year or two, just type in here. Okay, and then the calendar will jump for you. And then the contract filed, I just click in here to indicate that. And that's going to be a yes or no, basically, when you look at it. Service options, I choose my option A, I get option A description. I choose option B, I get option B description. So that's another example of a dependent field, but this one gives you a larger amount of text to go with it. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Then up here, we have this additional sales rep. This is a multi-value lookup. I think I'm the only user in here, but I could add more than one person. Okay, now you do need to know your usernames. Let's see. Oh, I do have some others. Okay. So here's another one. So I can add up to 8 additional sales reps that might work with this record. The owner is me, okay, but I could add up to 8 additional people here. Okay. Then my other one was, oh, I forgot the corporate one. Well, I'll use this. I called it parent, but this is the same field. So you click on this. This is a lookup field. That's a single value lookup. So you click on the little spyglass, and then it's going to list all of your accounts. And all you need to do if you have a big long list is search. Well, I should have done this with a different record. And you type in the search, and then it will find it. Okay, and then it fills it in. So this will only allow you to fill one in, whereas the multi-value lookup will let you add up to 8. If you decide to delete one, you just click the X. Okay, so that should give you some ideas on how to use those dependent fields and lookup fields. All right, now one other one that's similar to a lookup field, but in some ways is better or kind of cool, let's say, and it's called a relationship field. And what you're doing with a relationship field is you're actually connecting 2 records together. You're relating them, okay? So what I have in accounts here is I have a board member relationship type field. And if I open this, what happens when you choose the data type of relationship, I'm in accounts, so it says, okay, the account is, you're looking up an account and the field name is board members. So in the account record, it's going to show me a list of the board members, all right? and then I'm relating it to contacts. And in the contact record, it's going to be the field is going to be board member 4 and what account. All right. So let me do this. Oops. I'm going to change these names. Okay. And I'll create it for you so you see what happens. So if I add this, what I suggest when you're doing a relationship field, don't type the name, select the data type first because it changes here. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying, okay, in the account, I'm going to see people listed that are board members for this company. And where are they coming from? They're coming from contacts, and in the contact record, okay? These are a little tricky to get used to. These could be used for if you work in a business where you work with subcontractors or general contractors, or you're in the financial business and you want to relate people to a banker, to a lawyer, to whatever. So you just need to sit down and think, how can I do this? What kind of relationships do I want to set up? So I'm going to save this. Then I'm going to go to my UI template and I'm going to bring over board members. I'll stick it up here. Okay. Now, board members is in the account record, not in the board members 4 is in the contact record. So I have to do 2 UI templates here. I need to do this one, save it. Then I can click the back button and go to contacts. So whatever other module you're relating to, you need to move that field into view in its user interface template. So here's board members 4, okay, or board member 4. So I'm going to, what else did we do in here? Anything? I think we didn't. Okay. Save this, then log out. And when I go to my accounts and I open up, well, let's do something different here. So here's board members. I click add. And then again, I would need to know the name of the person that I'm searching for, which right at the moment, I cannot think of who they are. Okay, so here are all the people. Yeah, type in E, the most popular letter. I got them all. So this tells me where they are from, but let's say this person, Bobby McGee, sits on the board for Holly Hill Assisted Living. Okay, so I've added Bobby McGee as a board member. I can add another person as a board member. And maybe I also have John Leonard sits on the board. So these are the board members for Holly Hill Assisted Living. Okay, well, that looks like the multi-select or the multi-value lookup field that's over here. But what's cool about this is when I save it, and then I go to contacts, and I open up Bobby McGee's record, she is a board member for Holly Hill Assisted Living. So I don't have to do the data entry in 2 places. Because of the relationship you've created, they're connected. So I could have gone to Bobby McGee's record and set her as a board member for Holly Hill Assisted Living. Or, I mean, maybe she sits on another board. Maybe she is also a board member for Happy Valley Schools. So I can make her a board member here. Then I can go look at Happy Valley Schools, and she will have been added as a board member in Happy Valley Schools. See, board member, Bobby McGee from Lake Hospital. That's what's cool about the relationship field is you can relate records. You fill it in one, it automatically fills in the other. Now, the other thing, I've been jumping from place to place, but if I click on Bobby McGee here, then it's going to open her record. So I have a direct link to the record. It's hyperlinked here. I could have jumped right to Happy Valley Schools, but I didn't want to confuse everybody by doing that. Okay. So that's what a relationship is. Now, the other thing you do have to remember is you are limited on these, like the multi-value lookup, you can have up to 8 relationships. Okay. So you have to think that through. If you know you're going to have more than 8 relationships or need more, then you can use our relationships tab, okay? And that's been with ClaritySoft from the beginning. If you don't see it in your account and contacts records, you go to tab settings under this, and then you say, okay, pull over relationships. And I don't see my projects either, so I'll pull that over. And then when you open a record, you would then see the relationships tab. Now you have to go into settings and set up relationship types in there where you choose, and then you set your relationships here. So the difference is you can put as many relationships that you need, but they are not searchable and you cannot pull them out into reports. The relationship field, however, you can search on it and you can pull the data out into reports. So again, you'll have to maybe think through what you need and make some decisions on that. Okay. All right. Now, another field. Okay, Mike, you're asking a question about a range of numbers. You can create a drop-down list that says, you know, for example, a lead record, you might want to know when are they interested in doing something. It could be 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 4 to 6 to 9 months. That you could do. So you can't set a range of numbers for a field, no, if that's what you're asking. Okay. So some of your other ones here. All right, so let's do the next one. I want to show you is a calculated field, and I'm going to go to opportunities to do that. Many times in opportunities, people want to know, because the sales stage gives you a % probability, or you can put your own in here, or you can create your own custom field for it. They want to know a weighted amount when they're at a particular stage. My opportunity is $10,000, but we're only at 20%. So my weighted amount is the 20% times the 10,000. And we do have calculated fields. Now, these you may not have because they only come with the enterprise level standard. You have to talk to your account rep about getting them if you don't have calculated fields. But let me see here. I'm going to create an opportunity here real fast. So I'm going to put this here at discovery stage, and I'm going to put in a value of 10,000. Okay, so I have an opportunity. Now, I'm going to go to settings and customization, and I'm going to opportunities to do this. And I want to add, and I'll just call this weighted amount, and this will be a calculated field. So the first thing here is, what is the return type? Is it text, a number, a percent, currency, or date and time? So I'm just going to return it as a number. Actually, I'll return it as currency. And then you can pick whether you want decimals or not. Okay. Then down here is where you actually build your formula. So it says here, weighted amount currency is equal to. Well, what it's equal to is the percent, the probability times the amount divided by 100. Okay. So over here, we have a drop-down list of all our math operators. Here we have different math functions. So this works very similarly to Excel. Okay, and you can create some pretty complex formulas in here. So ours is pretty simple. And then we have our insert fields. We want the amount, oops, okay, and we simply want to multiply it times the probability. And then, hello, we need to divide that by 100. Okay, so very simple. Now you can get if statements in here. You can do that. You can play around with it. And then I'm going to go down and click save. So I now have a calculated field called weighted amount. All right. Then now I need to go to my UI template. And this time I'm going to the opportunity one. This always takes a little while to bring up these access profiles. It's probably searching for all of them. All right, so I'm going to bring over, well, first of all, my market segment. And I didn't put the subgroup in, but that's okay. And then I have my weighted amount. So I'm going to put that next to the amount field. All right. Again, you may want to add the last touch date. The last stage edit tells you when you last edited a sales stage. The next step is a text box that allows you to put in some notes. And the lead conversion date would tell you when the lead was converted. Now that may be equal to the creation date. If you create the opportunity when you convert the lead. So put your fields where you want them and then save. And then log out. Okay, now I'm going to go back to opportunities. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to create another new opportunity for Big Hospital, because if I open this one, you'll notice that the market segment did not come across, nor did the product interest, because I didn't have those fields showing in here when I created the new opportunity, but they should, I think come through from the account record, they might have to be in the contact record. So let's create a new one and see. And so I'll do big hospital again. Yeah, see, it flows in. So it's when you create a new record. If you went back and changed it in accounts or something, it will not come across again. So only once when you create a new record. So we're going to pick the sales stage of discovery, which is 30%. Okay, all this is filled in. This will auto-generate a number when you save or save and close, but you can type something in here if you don't want to use the numbers. So we'll just call it, I'll just call it new meal project. Again, whatever you want to call it is fine. Now, when I type an amount in here, nothing happens, okay, in my weighted amount field. What I do have to do is go down and click save. I think I can click save. I might have to click save and close. I never can remember. No, just save will work. So it took the 10,000, multiplied it times the 30% and gave me 3,000. So whenever you want to redo a calculation, you just change it. So if I change this to the next sales stage, which is at 50%, click save. And that time it decided not to update it. Okay, now I have to do save and close. Okay, so if it doesn't work on the save, do a save and close. Now I can bring into my column settings my weighted amount so I can see it. So there it is. Okay, so, and there's my probability. There's my amount, there's my weighted amount. So I can move these around. I might want to put the percent probability closer to here. So it makes sense. This times this is equal to that. So that's how you can use calculations. And again, you can create fairly complex ones. It works mostly like Excel, but you might sometimes the way you do parentheses and the brackets have to be changed. It doesn't work exactly like Excel's logic. So you might have to play with that a little bit, but you know, you'll figure it out, or you can call tech support to help you. All right. Couple of things I did want to mention because they're new. In the contacts module, now when you open a contact record, you have the ability to point to this little icon here, and it will switch to a camera. And then you can go find a photo of the person and put it in that little icon. Okay, this is brand new, about 2 weeks ago now. So you might want to explore that if you didn't read the big long message that pops up when we do a new release. You can put that in. Also, if you want your picture in, you can go up here to the top and click on this little icon and put a photo of you in that little circle. So that's new to be able to use. I think that's all I wanted to show everybody. Basically, just get in there and think through some things. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. And, you know, maybe you've got some ideas to revamp your database. And then you can, you know, make it easy. But my main thing with fields, first of all, don't create so many fields that your sales team is like, oh my gosh, how many fields do we have to fill in? You don't want them taking time to enter data. You want them selling. So keep it to a minimum, all right? If you find you need a new one, then add it, okay? You can go in anytime and add a new field. You just add it. You put it in the user interface template. Everybody logs out, logs back in. It's there. If you need to add an option to a field, you just go in and go to the field and add a new drop-down option, either drop-down, whatever you need, type it, save it, log out, log in. Okay, and it will be updated. So you can edit, you can change the name of a field if you want to. If you don't like the name you gave it, you can change the name of it. Now, any of the ClaritySoft native fields, you cannot change their names. That's another question I get a lot. No, they cannot be changed, but your custom fields can be changed. Okay, so just get in there and explore and try different ones to see. Use these dependent fields. They can, again, help make things easier for your folks to fill in. A heads up on those, the relationship fields, lookup fields, and dependent fields cannot be imported into, okay? The importer will not work with those, but you can import into a drop-down field, number, all the standard kinds of fields you can import into, all right? The lookup ones are tough just because of the logic that would need to be done to have it work. The other thing, something just slipped out of my head that I was going to mention. For importing purposes, it'll come to me. But anyway, that's, just get in there and explore, and put in some fields and see if you can make things nicer, easier for your folks. Now, let me see here. Mike, you've been blasting me with questions. So you like the account types 1 and 2 fields, you can use those. But they basically don't go anywhere. They live in accounts and they live in contacts, those 2 fields. So they're, like I said, they come from the offline version. If you want to use, you don't have to use those. You can create your own custom fields for that. The field that you're looking for, the lookup field in the professional version, no, it is not available. Okay. Copy to, copy from, available within the same item type. No, you cannot copy custom fields from one location to another, perhaps in a future version. I get that question a lot too. Okay. So it's, yeah, the copy to is for your layouts. One of the things I also wanted to mention in the UI templates, which I didn't mention, oh gosh, I'm way past time. I'm sorry, guys. You have field configurations, and you can make fields read-only, and you can make fields required. Read-only would be if you're importing data and maybe you're bringing in some financial information from somewhere else and you don't want people to change it. So you can mark those custom fields as read-only. Required means when they create a record, they have to fill it in. Don't go crazy with this, because if you make 6 or 8 fields required, then your folks cannot save a record until they fill all of them in, and they will get to the point where they won't care what they fill in. So don't do that to them. Okay. Maybe a phone number, maybe an email address they need to get. So just know they're there, but just don't go nuts. And then you also can do here column customization, where when your people first log in, they're seeing these fields only in their data columns. So if you wanted them to see certain fields right off the bat, then you can pull those over here, and maybe you wanted them to see the market segment. I'll just pull this one over. So you can decide what columns you want them to see as a default. Maybe you don't want website. Then you come over here and say apply columns to users. And then it will apply those columns to all users so that when they log in, these are the columns they see by default. And you can set the results per page here too. Okay, so that saves them some time. I know sometimes people ask that question too. So that's now there. All right, I will let you go. I apologize for keeping you 10 minutes past time. I usually pay more attention to the clock than I do. So I will let you go, and you have a good rest of the afternoon. Bye-bye.